The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Happiness Jungle with, yours truly, the Chief Happiness Officer, Lyn-Dee Eldridge. And today is so special. We have a woman that I met at a friend's barbecue. And you know what? Inner circles of strength always come together. So, obviously, I met Trish Whynot at a barbecue. And it was just one of the most amazing times that we had. And we started gravitating towards one another. I found out that Trish is an author of this fabulous book, Why Not Me? Why Not Now? Why Not? And it really is all about the opportunity of finding your way out of your obstacles. Right, Trish?
Right.
Everybody, please meet Trish Whynot. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me, Lyn-Dee. I'm so excited.
Oh, my gosh. Share with me, when you talk about finding opportunity around your obstacles, share with me what exactly is that pivot point meaning behind this book? Because I read your book, and I love it.
Awesome.
I love it.
Well, I could give you a literal example of how to do that because I love stories, as you know. It's an illustrated guide I give stories in my book of how to find the opportunities in your obstacles. And this one actually just happened to me recently. So I was taking my dog for a walk before work, and I live in a wooded area, and my neighbor just moved in a couple months ago and they have a dog. And there is a leash law, but they don't have their dog on a leash. And I've only had my dog for a year, and we're still working on training and all that great stuff. And so I'm taking him for a walk, pretty much on a mission for him to do his business and stretch his legs, and then I've got to buckle down and see clients. So we're walking through the neighborhood, and he comes out of nowhere, the neighbor's dog, and startles me. Mind you, I have heels on, not just 2-inch heels, but because I'm going to work and not in my sneakers. And so he startles me, startles the dog. My dog starts pulling and trying to get at the dog to play with the dog. But I didn't have time for that. And you know how it is when you don't have time for something?
Right.
So I'm frustrated. I'm thinking, I can't believe they don't have their dog on a leash, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So
Now, do you know that dog?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
you knew that the dog wasn't going to bite you or attack you,
Right.
but that's still a scary situation, right?
And I'm working so hard on training my dog that all the training seems to go out the window when he sees this dog or another dog. So anyways, I'm going down the road of frustration. I'm feeling like a victim. I'm being wronged. Their dog should be on a leash. And all of a sudden, the small voice in my head says, how can this be good?
Wow.
And I thought,
how can this
be good? And then my thought process immediately shifted to, I am paying good money for training classes because I live in more of an isolated area. I pay to go to places where there are distractions.
Oh, wow.
And so I've done an off-lead class where we actually meet at hiking trails so that we run into people jogging and walking and people with other dogs. And I realized the universe provided me with a distraction right next door. And I just burst out laughing. How could I even be mad anymore?
Right.
Right?
Oh, my gosh. Talk about turning that around.
Right.
That's
so
great.
I'm sure down the road we might have a discussion about how we can support each other with us both having dogs, but it won't be a heated discussion.
Right.
And as of right now, every time if I'm inconvenienced, I just ask myself, how can this be good? And I realize I'm not even ready to have that discussion yet because clearly we just have more training to do with distractions.
How can this be good? I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you credit for it 3 times, and then I'm stealing it. How can this be good? I like that. And isn't it true that you were never a dog owner before?
Right.
You never owned a dog before.
Right.
Share with us about that experience. How did you become a dog owner? Because a lot of people that have never had a dog or animals shun them, where I think that is the biggest blessing in your life.
Right.
What turned that around for
Right.
you?
So I've had cats when I was raising my children. We always had cats. And then my kids started to get married and their spouses pushed for dogs. So now my kids started to have dogs. And I was afraid of the dogs. And you can't fake that with the dog.
No, they know instantly.
Right. And so then my youngest daughter got a dog, and I agreed to help her with the first year because my schedule was more flexible, and she worked full-time to raise the dog because I thought it will help me just as much to get comfortable.
Was it a puppy?
It was a puppy.
What, did you rescue? Did they rescue?
This one was not a rescue. The others were rescued.
Okay.
And the others were bigger. So this guy he's 6 and he only weighs 10 pounds. So he's a little guy. And then from there, last year my daughter was pushing for me to get a dog. Mom, you should get a dog. And so I said, a dog's definitely in my future, but not now.
Right.
6 months later, there I am with the dog. So a friend of mine on Facebook fosters dogs, and she had posted a picture of my dog on Facebook, and he had a broken leg when they found him, and they were looking for donations to have surgery because he needed surgery to have his leg repaired. So I donated, and then I found myself private messaging my friend, do you know how the dog's doing? Because he was in Tennessee in foster care, recuperating. So then she connected me directly with the woman who was fostering him. And before you know it, I'm adopting the dog. And so
that was an online meet.
It was. And then I would say to people, we met online. If I met a guy online, it doesn't mean that I'm necessarily his forever home. We need to get to know each other. And it's the same thing with the dog.
Wow.
And so, and not to be mean about it, but it actually freed me up to enjoy the experience and to really be honest about who I needed to be in order to be a good pack leader.
Wow.
For this dog.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that you and your dog taught each other valuable lessons.
Oh my gosh.
Of happiness and love and respect and contentment. And a rescued animal has unconditional love. I mean, all animals give unconditional love, but when you could find a rescue that you're compatible with,
right,
it's crazy. You even share in your book about animals. I mean, that, from not being a dog person to helping people with the loss of their pet is in this book too. And unbelievable. So wow, what a transition in 1 year.
Right.
Right? That's intense. Share with us, I'm excited. I know that you brought some stones. I'm very intrigued with stones. And one of the biggest things that I love for my audience to do is to gravitate and to be able to take something away from every one of my shows. So when our show is over, they're going to think, they're going to be able to do an action to help them have a happier tomorrow. I know you've got some awesome tips. You've got some awesome stones. Share with us whatever it is that you want to share, because it's all about you. I know that you, to me, looking at you, you're just a shining star.
Oh,
and I honestly, I just see this halo, this glow around you. So I feel very excited about this energy that you brought to my set.
Nice.
So do your thing.
Okay, so my relationship with stones, it was another stepping outside of my comfort zone, just like getting a dog. And through that process, I had to come out of the closet with my relationship with stones.
I love your terminology.
I really did, because it wasn't a plan. I just started to be drawn to them, and then I would look up the stones that I was drawn to, and at the time the only book was Melody, Love is in the Earth, and I would look up the stones that I was drawn to, and there was always something in there that I needed to hear. And then I would buy the stones, and I would noticed that I was working through, they were helping me work through, as I would carry them, the things that where I was stuck or whatever I was working on.
Right.
And then I wanted to learn more, and they brought me to Florida, they brought me to New Mexico a couple of times, they brought me to Vermont, and I didn't even know why it wasn't because, oh, I'm definitely going to use this in my counseling practice. I seriously had no idea. So through the stones, I have learned that with intuition, the logic comes later.
You are one powerful woman. Share with me. Share what you have.
Okay, so I brought a few stones, and let's see, what do we want to do with them today? So we can just ask the stones, if you would like, to give for them to give you a message that will help you moving forward in your life.
Okay.
And the stones give us information about what's going on with us on a deeper level. My relationship with stones does. It's different for different people, but I'm a counselor, and so I have more of a counseling relationship with stones, you could say.
Wow.
And my relationship with stones actually renewed my faith in humanity. Because the way I learned to receive information from the stones, I can see that people that come into my life have a message for me, just like my neighbor's dog.
Yeah.
And I have learned through the stones how to receive those gifts. Because life is a gift.
It is a gift.
And when we can learn how to receive it, that's to be where the joy comes. So why don't you just close your eyes for a minute, just take a few deep breaths, centering yourself with your breath, and connecting with the stones, with your mind and with your heart, however you picture that. And ask the stones to please give you and your audience some information that will help them to move forward in their lives with greater ease and elegance. And then whenever you're ready, open your eyes and tell me which three you're drawn to, and I will pull them out.
Okay. Definitely the crystal that looks
This
like,
one?
yes.
Okay.
It looks like it's in flight.
Yes.
I'm very intrigued with that one. I could feel that one.
Uh-huh.
It's in flight. It's in, that's all I know.
Uh-huh.
That's what I could feel.
So that's Opal Aura.
Wow.
And it's quartz that's infused with silver and platinum, which gives it the color. And Opal Aura is about the power of love. So the more you love yourself, the more you're a magnet for love. And the more you're a magnet for love, the more you're a magnet for whatever your heart desires just because you desire it. And when I say love yourself, to me, loving myself means being honest when I'm taking something personally. It doesn't mean I should or I shouldn't, but I just am, and to just be honest about it. If I'm upset, I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm fine, at least not to myself.
Right. This isn't the Cinderella, oh, she found her prince, she's going to fall in love.
Right.
This is about falling in love with you.
Exactly, right? It's that unconditional love. It's not telling ourselves we need a right to have our feelings.
Right.
And we work outside of ourselves to justify it. It's just saying, okay, feelings are coming up, let's be with them.
Wow.
To me, that's unconditional love.
And go with it.
Right, and see where it takes you.
And see where it takes you.
Right.
But don't allow it to control you.
No, absolutely not. That's where you say, how can this be good?
How could this be good?
There's value there.
There's value there.
Yeah.
That is, that's powerful. Another one?
Yep.
You have a heart that's right next to you.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, this one is Malachite. And Malachite is about the healing heart.
Wow.
Yeah. And so in our childhood, I look at our childhood as our setup for our life purpose. And I believe that we choose our parents, and they will oftentimes bring forth wounds that we actually want to bring into this lifetime to launch us in pursuit of something. So in other words, if you came into this lifetime to understand what love really is, you might choose a family that withholds it from you.
Right. Whoa.
Right.
Whoa. Very intense here. There's a lot of love going on here, huh?
Yeah, and so that's the childhood. We don't know it while it's going on. And then, so we develop these coping skills to avoid feeling hurt and to maintain connections with people. And then as an adult, we master those coping skills until we hit a wall because they don't work anymore. They're
My
necessary
God.
to our survival growing up, but then they're destructive to the life that we want to live. They become barriers to intimacy, barriers to abundance. That's our birthright. And then we go in pursuit of removing those coping skills, those
Right.
protective layers that we develop that we actually even identify ourselves with, like a second
Wow.
skin. And then that's the adult life, is removing those and really choosing to be authentic.
Fantastic. Do you know, I don't know if you know or not, but my first book is called Tears of Fears Behind Closed Doors. And it is my story from a childhood to an adult. And what you just described is exactly the meaning behind that.
Right.
And what you described is truly today. I get to pick one more.
Yes, you do.
I'm going to owe you lots of money for this session.
And the other thing with this one to remember is that emotions that get triggered in our adult lives, when we do sit with those feelings, which is the loving ourselves, it will take us back to when we felt similarly in our childhood, so we can look at it with new eyes and learn from it.
You're a very powerful woman. Do you realize how powerful you are? Oh my God. Yeah, you, between your book, between your stones, and how much I could feel your energy right now. And not only that, but what you're describing is so spot on that it's blowing me away on a happy note.
Nice.
Let's go with, I'd like to go with the flat piece.
This one?
Yes.
Aha. Okay, so this one is mica lepidolite. You can see all the layers. And it's about shedding protective layers, which we talked about. The coping skills are our protective layers. It's who we become when it doesn't feel so great to be us. It's about shedding those layers so that our light, our beauty, and our purity can shine through once again, because we can't shine when we've got all these protective layers.
Amazing.
And then we wonder why we attract the wrong people.
Yeah, isn't
because
that the truth?
For instance, if a protective layer is to please somebody, then you will, when it doesn't feel safe to be you, you go into being who you think somebody else wants you to be.
Right.
And then you'll attract people that want that from you.
Give our audience a really valuable tip that when this show is over, that they could look at themselves, go into the mirror, pick up whatever kind of a stone or what have you, and start changing from the moment that this show ends. What would be your advice?
My advice would be that when our feelings come up, when your feelings come up, to not dismiss them and to not put too much weight on them either, but to acknowledge that they exist with interest, with curiosity. I always say to my clients, when you're emotionally charged, just look at it from the perspective of how interesting. Like, how interesting, I want to rip that person's face off. It doesn't mean that you're going to.
That's right.
It just is telling you that you are supercharged.
Sure.
It's information.
Right.
And when we can look at it from information, then we can use that information to heal, to learn, to grow.
Absolutely.
So that would be.
I'm going to share an experience that I had today coming over to the TV station. I love to bring food and stuff for the guys. And today, because I'm here for a long day, I decided I was going to bring a box of Joe. I also decided I was going to go to a grocery store instead of my favorite place, Dunkin' Donuts, to get it because it was convenient, and I heard so much about this box of Joe. And I get there, and a long story short, the box of Joe just wasn't working out. And what happened is that 4 people that were trying to fix this box of Joe, 4 people, they still couldn't understand how to fill this box of Joe. It was the most unbelievable thing to me. My clock is ticking, and I'm watching this process go on, and I said, there's a reason and a purpose that this is happening now. Finally, almost 20 minutes later, I says, you work on the Joe. I'm going to go get the other stuff that I need. I come back. The box of Joe still isn't ready. Finally, they bring the box of Joe to me. I did not accept the box of Joe because when I picked up the box of Joe, literally the carton that the box of Joe sits in was falling apart. There was a reason I was not supposed to have the box of Joe, but here was the greatest lesson that I helped with. the 4 people now understand how to make a box of Joe.
Right.
So there was a purpose there, and I just left and I went over to, yes, Dunkin' Donuts, and within a matter of minutes I had the right box of Joe. But isn't it funny how we could either react or how we could look at something and say,
Right.
what is your term?
How interesting.
No.
Oh.
How can
Oh, how can this be good?
How can this be good? Well,
Right.
how can this be good? There always has to be a benefit to something. You know, yes, it may take you out of the game a little bit, but how can it benefit somebody?
Right.
Something. So that was like one of my ahas today. It's a test. It's a test. So when you talk about the synergy and the energy of what goes on, it's all about the response of how we deal with certain things in our lives, right? Because I could have taken that box of Joe and just, Lord only knows what could have happened with the box of Joe,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's funny. You know, it's funny, Trish, I give out these stones and they're hearts, and they come from all different places. And I want to hand them to you because they're not as crystal and shiny or as purposely in the earth tones as yours are. But I've been told somehow or another that when I pass these on to somebody, that there's something that happens and they could feel the energy. So, from my heart to yours, I really want to put these in your hands. And I want you to know that when you're feeling distressed, how can this be good? I want you to know that I'm with you. And it's like when when you just like to fiddle-faddle with stones. I hope that those give you as much energy as what you've given me today, because it's amazing.
That's wonderful.
You know,
Thank
it's
you.
just a passing that it helps people. And the message that what you've done for me today is clarity. Clarity is power. And when you realize that everything in your life has purpose, then that's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing.
So if the one thing that I want my audience to take away from today is to realize that no matter what your challenges are, first of all, you need to gravitate towards this book, Why Not, on Amazon.com. And you need to realize that there is purpose and there's opportunity for everything that happens to you.
That's right.
And my goodness, if the other thing that you've taught us is never take any kind of relationship for granted as it comes into your life, whether it's a furry animal or whether it's a human person, everything has purpose. Or crystal, stones, everything has purpose.
Yes.
And you live in the woods, you live in nature, and I love that. And I've watched you on Facebook. I'm one of your biggest stalkers, your biggest fans, if you will. And I gravitated, and I'm like, oh my God, she shares such beautiful vision. Is this where your home is?
Yes.
On this lake? She brought me a calendar, and it's amazing, and it's for 2007. I don't know whether y'all could see it or not, but each page has you're a photographer.
It's my hobby.
It's your hobby. Well, your hobby is wonderful.
Thank you.
And we have everything from wonder to create to be open throughout the whole 12 months. Admire. This calendar is so beautiful and breathtaking. Now, are these available, or do you just make these?
They're available on my website, actually.
They are. Why don't you give them your website? Because I really want our audience to be connected to you.
Okay. So my website is www.trishwhynot.com. That's TrishWhynot.com. And it is legit my last name.
It is legit. How did that come about? Why not?
Well, I married it.
I married it. Are it and you still together?
No, I married the man with the last name Whynot, and we were married for 33 years, and now we're the best of friends.
That's awesome. And how long have you been divorced?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. Yeah. And you pulled your life together. I'm not asking you about what happened because everything happens for a reason, but why not?
Right. So I promised myself that I wasn't going to get divorced because I was angry. I just didn't like the person that I had become in the relationship, and I couldn't figure out how. I tried all I could to change that, and through getting a divorce, now we're able to have the friendship back. So we just weren't good marriage partners after the kids were all settled. So now we're great parents to our kids still, and great grandparents to our grandchildren.
Wow.
Without the stress.
I like that. So for everybody that thinks, first of all, that you're stuck in a relationship and you should stick and stay in it, I don't know, why not? You know, why not if you're not happy and it truly isn't a relationship that is going to really emphasize your wonderful character and it doesn't bring out your glow,
Right.
well, why not? And the other thing is that there are many relationships out there that, why don't you go for counseling? Why, if you really, really want it, then everything is just a why not.
Right.
But everything has to flow and feel good. Nobody should ever be stuck. And in your book, The Opportunity of Your Obstacles, you share so many things. One of the things that I gravitated towards is chapter 12, What's in a Smile. I love this chapter. I just resonated to it. And it says, don't do what you do to please someone or in hopes of a particular outcome. Do it because it makes you smile with contentment for the person who you are at the end of the day. That is the most beautiful thing that anybody could hear, and it's a great message for today.
Thank you.
I just love it. I love everything about this show. I can't believe we're almost over. I don't want it to be over. You know, I hold flags of unity. I'm a very spiritual person. I've given up on religion many, 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 many years ago. But when it comes to the unity of people, I just love the fact that spiritually we could all be bound. As long as we realize that rules are not set in stone and everything is changeable, as long as it works for you and gravitates towards you.
Right.
Right?
Right. To me, if it's a path of truth and love, it's a good path.
It's a good path.
And there's many of them.
And time will either promote you or expose you.
Yeah.
And if it's your time, then it's your time. So with that, everybody, we never said that life was easy, but we did say that you could be happier. I want you to look up Trish Whynot. She's got an amazing Facebook fan page that just gravitates with great energy. I want you to make sure that you're connected with her. Go to Amazon, find her book. I think you're going to really get a lot out of it. That's my mojo for today. I'm blessed that I have my copy, and I'm very happy for the calendar, and I could not tell you how greatly appreciative I am of you. So with that, everybody, go and make it a great day. Why not you? Say goodbye, Trish.
Bye.
See you later,
Thank
guys.
you.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.